Now we go to Deputy Catherine Connolly, please.
Tá mé ddíriú isteach arís ar cuasaí infrastructure nó níos cirta rá aspa infrastructure in Galia sa chathair sa Conde an Carraroe san áireamh agus go háirid ó híomh cuasaí séarachas. Tá an aspa bunúsach seo agus dearm aspa bunúsach seo ag choristeach go mórmhór ar tuile forbara agus ar cuasaí títheachta agus tá gá pránach le Bart Stúma ó Uisce Éirden faoi stúar agus fís an rialtas chun é seo ag cinntiú. My question, unfortunately, once again today focuses on the inadequate capacity in the existing wastewater collection treatment network in the Galway metropolitan area, including Merlin Park, Oranmore, Barna, the absence and Carraroe, where has absolutely no wastewater treatment plant. That lack of basic infrastructure is preventing development in Galway, although Galway has been picked as one of the cities to grow to a population of 120,000. It simply can't. It's empty rhetoric to talk about growing Galway, talking about balanced regional development, not just in the region, but the city and the county. It's utterly empty rhetoric. It can't happen, and planning permissions are being stalled. The kernel of the problem is the wastewater treatment plant on Mutton Island was upgraded in 2014 and 16. It has plenty capacity. It's the collection network going into it that's the problem. So we've a serious problem in Merlin Park, the pumping station there, no storage facility, serious problem in Oranmore, which is connected with Merlin Park, and a serious problem in Barna. And all of this has been recognised for a very long time. Back in 2007, we have 2 pipes going under the estuary of the Carraroe, bringing wastewater from the east of the city. Let me just quote what's been said about that in a report this year. Imminent danger of collapse. 2 pipes, 2 siphons. A survey in mid-April of this year found that the larger of the 2 existing pipes on the estuary of the River Carraroe, exactly where I live, has structural defects and is at risk of collapse at any time. What's needed is a new pipe that's 750 millimetres. That was identified back in 2007. All of the defects were identified by the City Council, who did a good job, applied for funding, but they didn't get it because Irish Water was being set up, and we've left Irish Water without vision, without resources, and without any direction. So what I'm doing here today as a proud Galwegian and someone that does not want to talk down their city, I want to talk it up. We have natural beauty, we have every possibility. We should be running with light rail to lift the transport problems, and we should be acknowledging the serious defects that are here in the network that's now allowing raw sewage in through the storm overflows on a regular basis. And I'll come back in my second minute in relation to that. I'm asking today, Minister, if you don't know the details, to acknowledge what I'm saying, to acknowledge the empty rhetoric, and then to take a hands-on approach in relation to correcting the defects.
Deputy Minister.
Thank you very much, Deputy, for raising a very important question, and one that has, I suppose, public health dimensions to it, environmental dimensions to it, but also development and housing dimensions to it as well. And just to say at the outset, Deputy, I'm not going to pretend for a moment I'm anyway an expert in terms of the intricacies of the direct wastewater infrastructure deficits and challenges that you and your constituents face in Galway. So if you don't mind, I'll probably speak to a slightly higher degree, but I'm happy to raise the issue with Minister O'Brien. But the challenges of on our drinking water and our wastewater infrastructure, I always see them in those three ways. We know there are thousands of homes in this country where people are still operating under a boil water notice, in terms of that by consuming their own water, they're at risk, their own health is at risk, and that's relevant to those on the public water network. It's also relevant to those who have drilled their own wells and are reliant on that. There's also a significant environmental impact for our river water quality, our coastal water quality as well. And this has a real economic knock-on right now in terms of the conversation about the maintenance of the nitrates derogation and the importance that water quality will play in the determination that the European Union takes as to whether that is extended or not. And as you said, Deputy, it ultimately has a very significant development element as well, because if we're not putting in place that sort of infrastructure to deal with the needs of new homes, then new homes can't be built. And I fully agree with you, Deputy, in terms of the importance of regional balance. As a proud Dubliner, I don't want to see our entire country weighed around Dublin and the surrounding area. I strongly believe that our regional cities, our Galways, our Waterfords, our Limericks, our Corks, I strongly believe that they need to be allowed grow and that they be given those key pieces of infrastructure to permit that. And water is absolutely fundamental to that. I know the current Irish water investment programme, Carraroe investment programme, is just over €5 billion. In my own area, I've seen the outcome of that. I've seen the positive outcome in terms of Irish Water taking this away from the local authorities and implementing regional solutions to issues to do with drainage and issues to do with wastewater as well. And I know next year their next set of investment plans are being set out. But where I think we might agree, Deputy, is I think more investment is needed in this area, and I think there is, as we look at the NDP, as we look at available capital funds, I think for the environmental, the public health and the housing benefits that it will bring, I think further investment in Irish Water to allow it undertake its role and expand its role is hugely valuable.
Thank you, Minister.
Minister, I'm glad you're here as the leader of the Green Party and a Green Minister. And I just want you to hear what I'm actually saying. The two main pipes taking the sewage through the estuary of the Carraroe out to Mutton, that one is in imminent danger of collapse. Can you imagine what that means for the area alone, for health and for housing? Back in 2007, it was recognised that we needed a new siphon or a new pipe. Nothing has happened. Back in 2009, it was recognised that we needed a new wastewater treatment plant on the east of the city to allow for the development of the Ardon corridor and other developments. Nothing has happened. Storm water overflows. This was brought into acute focus when the EPA made a site visit to Oranmore last year, and they were inspecting an outflow as a result of an electricity outage. And what did they find? There were 70 recorded incidences of just sewage going into the water, not reported to the EPA, in less than 6 months alone, discovered as a result of a site visit. My point today is, let's stop the empty rhetoric about development and growing Galway City without the basic infrastructure. Let's recognise the problem and let's have some leadership and vision in relation to that. Telling me about your goodwill, I appreciate very much. But I spent 17 years of my life at local authority level. I saw them apply for the money, recognising the faults that were there, while the governments were busy setting up Irish Water, and then not giving any steer to Irish Water, not giving resources, a hands-off approach. I'm not used to being over time. I apologise. I'm really appealing. This is my second time in the space of 3 months to raise this. I'm going to keep raising it. If you did nothing else today except to say you hear me and you're going to meet with Irish Water in relation to an immediate plan for Galway City and its environments, including Carraroe, which has no wastewater treatment plant, and the sewage is going straight into the sea.
Thanks very much, Deputy. Well, I absolutely hear your extremely valid concerns about the risks here, and particularly in terms of those two pipes and the structural integrity of one and the risks there as identified by the EPA. And I'm absolutely happy to bring those concerns forward. I think the investment that Irish Water has undertaken nationally and the investment that Irish Water will be able to undertake with additional capital funding will allow the immediate environmental and public health risks that you've highlighted there be addressed, but will also allow for the necessary water infrastructure to be put in place to enable that level of development that you and I both want to see across Galway be maintained and be enhanced. But I'm happy to speak to Minister O'Brien directly about this particular issue, and I'll note that you've raised it now on a number of occasions here in the House.
Thank you, Minister. That concludes